Let's now move on to some other stories where the Ministry for the Interior has announced a 12-hour curfew in Bawku in response to renewed chieftaincy clashes in the area, which have resulted in loss of lives. In the statement announcing the measure, the government attributed the disturbances to the return of Seydou Abagre, who is described as having been illegally enskinned as Bawku Naba. Now, the statement signed by Deputy Interior Minister Nana Eyia reads in part, on October 24, 2024, the return of Mr. Seydou Abagre, who was illegally enskinned as Bawku Naba in February of 2023, following the Court of Appeal's vacation of his arrest warrant, has led to significant disturbances affecting public peace and security in the area. Now, unfortunately, these disturbances have resulted in numerous fatalities in Bawku and its environs, with a looming threat of escalation beyond Bawku. Quote, based on assessments by national security agencies, the continued presence of Mr. Seydou Abagre in Bawku poses a substantial threat to public safety and security. In light of the foregoing, pursuant to the provisions of the Public Order Act of 1994, Act 491, a curfew is hereby imposed on Bawku from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m., commencing Monday, October 28, 2024, until further notice. Well, still on this matter, because the Minister for Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs, Stephen Asamoah Boateng, a while ago addressed the press regarding developments in the Bawku area. Now, he called for restraint amongst the feuding factions and also called on the political parties to avoid politicizing the matter. My colleague Charles Owusu-Kumi sat through that press conference and joins us with some more updates as to what the Chieftaincy Minister has been saying. Thank you so much, Charles. Kindly brief us on what else the Minister said apart from calling for this restraint from the feuding factions.
Well, Nana, so the Minister also asked the parties to stop politicizing the issues there in Bawku. We asked questions about accusations that the government is allowing this to fester because it would eventually inure to the benefit of the ruling NPP in the upcoming elections. And he says that, well, these are all conjecture and speculations, but also urged the parties to stop politicizing the issues and allow government to use the processes that they have already started to solve the issues there in Bawku. Now, the Minister also... Hello, Nana.
Yes, Charles, please carry on.
Okay, so the Minister also urged these feuding factions to, trust the processes and then... Hello?
Carry on, Charles. We can hear you.
Yes. So, in fact, one of the questions that we asked the Minister was also relating to the issues there in Accra. Now, we know that yesterday there were issues about the Gamanche or throne, that one of the people, making claims to the Gamanche throne, a claimant to the stool, released a statement that he is a legitimate Gamanche. Now, the Minister avoided this question. He said he wanted to concentrate on the issues far up north. He believed that government has what it takes to solve the issues there. And he also put the number of casualties to 16. We knew from yesterday that 8 people had died from the blockade on the Bogatanga Tamale Road because some gunmen had, blocked the road and killed some people there. We knew that casualties were 8, but the Minister had put that number to 60 now. So officially, now since the renewed conflict there, 16 people have lost their lives. So essentially, government is asking for calm. But we asked how long this curfew would last. The Minister couldn't really put an specific dates to it, but he says that it doesn't have to be long. So government is working to ensure that the elections that are just coming up in about 35 days the people of Bawku will be able to vote, and the curfew would not be enforced once the election is ongoing. So government is working to ensure that happens, but couldn't give a definite date to when the curfew would end there in Bawku.
Very well, Charles. Now, from the government statement from yesterday announcing the curfew, and of course the minister's own admission today, it is clear that government knows the cause of the renewed tensions, which will happen to be the presence of Mr. Seydou Abagre in Bawku. What does the minister say is the strategy to dealing with this particular one and not the entire tensions in Bawku as a whole?
Well, he sought to evade the question about Mr. Seydou Abagre. He says that we should leave that to the security authorities. But he also mentioned that he didn't even know that Seydou had entered Bawku. And this was a matter of the courts having to cause an arrest warrant, which Seydou Abagre had appealed in the High Court. In the Court of Appeal in Kumasi. So government really didn't even know anything about him entering there. And it's not about a matter of chieftaincy, it's about his person, it's about his movement. And so they are trying to engage with the chiefs in Bawku, with the authorities there, to ensure that this doesn't further degenerate, because 16 lives have been lost. And that's one too many, according to the words of the minister. So government is determined to make sure that this doesn't degenerate any further. As for Seydou Abagre in the community, you know, the court has made that decision. So what they can do now is to engage with the other authorities so that they can judge, which he says the Otumfuo is leading these discussions with the chiefs in Bawku to ensure that there is peace. The Otumfuo has been doing this for a while, and so they are trusting in the Otumfuo and other government agencies to try and work together and ensure that there is lasting peace in the Bawku enclave.
All right, thank you very much. Charles Owusukumi there, my colleague who's coming to us live from the Ministry of Chieftaincy and Religious Affairs.